I found out about the design engine through work. We send all our new engineers here for training and I've been there for 7.5 years. So before I've been there, we've been sending people here. So my second training has been extremely positive, extremely happy. I plan on coming back again. So my training that I came for was Rhino training. And the reason I took this was we used to have an industrial designer, and now we have some customers will send us some files they want us to open up or manipulate, and we didn't have anybody to do it. So they kind of sent me to this Rhino training, and mainly the main purpose of me coming was to be able to do quick sketches, quick surfaces, open up files, give suggestions, and I definitely think after this training course I'll be able to do that. When I first started, my experience with Rhino was last week Thursday. I installed it on my computer, opened it for 5 minutes, got lost and closed it. And now I was modeling up full keypads and bezels that I've designed in Pro E that have taken weeks. So very, very positive experience. The instructors here, they're experienced in the field, which to me is very important because just knowing the software is one thing, but actually having real life experience, that's what makes the difference to me. Thomas was very helpful with my training, and kind of like I said previously, he does have real life experience using Rhino, doing projects for real companies, have real results. So not only was he able to teach us the basics, he was also able to teach us the more advanced stuff, the stuff I'm not going to pick up in a week, but at least, he showed it to us, and it could be in the back of my head if I ever come up with this problem at work. If I ran into an issue, what Thomas would do is he'd kind of watch. I could kind of tell him he was looking over my shoulder, and he'd let me struggle, which to me is important. You don't want someone to just jump in and say, "Oh no, that's wrong. You're doing it wrong." He kind of lets you try to find your own way through, and then once you can kind of tell once you hit that point of frustration where it's like, okay, I need help. Then I'll be like, okay, I was watching you, and you're going down the right track, and then this is where you went wrong, or some of the stuff like you were just completely wrong. You should do it this way instead, because he has that experience. He said he's been doing this for 10 years now. To compare Thomas to other instructors, I guess the only other real comparisons I can make are to college, and college, they're more lifetime teachers, educators versus instructors, if that makes sense. They may not have a lot of them, they're the academia type that haven't really been out in the real world and haven't really designed these projects from scratch. So they're more the ones that will follow the tutorials and go over PowerPoints versus, Thomas's teaching style of, let's try this project because this is going to be relevant to you. I brought a couple samples with, and Thomas was able to look at them and say, this is how I would do it. This is probably the best course, whereas, college professors, they may not have that kind of experience. I would definitely recommend Design Engine to pretty much anybody I know. I've come here twice, once for Pro Engineer, once for Rhino, and I've definitely left, having you're not going to become an expert at these softwares in a week, but you'll definitely have a very, very good foundation, a solid foundation to be able to kind of expand on that on your own.